Okay, thank you. Okay, so everyone, Jai Jain, welcome to this 15th online lecture of uh, online monthly lecture series on Jainology, organized by International School for Jain Studies. And we have a very important topic to be discussed today, and we have our chairperson, our speakers with us. So I would invite our chairperson, Dr. Jayanti Lalji, to the meeting, and I'll also invite Dr. Medhavi ji for this lecture, who's the speaker today. And I'll invite our own Dr. Sulekji, our team members, and all of you. So uh, before I give you, before we start this talk, let me tell you the topic for the day is Kundakunda Samayasara, present day applicability of the 2000-year-old text. So before the session, we should have the invocation. Join your hands, please. Namo Arihantanam. Namo Siddhanam. Namo Ayariyanam. Namo Vajjayanam. Namo Loe Savvasahunam. Vandittu Savvasiddhe. Dhovamachal Manobamam Garim Patte. Vochami Samaya Pahoda. Nirmo Sudh Kevali Ghanidam. Thank you very much. So we will start this talk now. And for your formal welcome, I would request Dr. Srinivasa Pandey to say a few words. Dr. Pandey, can you please unmute yourself? It looks like there is some problem. So, okay, then you will have to listen to me. All right. We have our chairperson, Dr. Jayanti Laljan. Let me tell you about him. He is the professor. He is the advisor and former dean of the Faculty of Humanities and at Mangalayatan University, and is professor emeritus at the University of Madras. He has worked as chief economic advisor and general manager at the Indian Bank, Chennai, and has been a part of the Development Research Center, World Bank, Washington. PhD in economics from Oklahoma University, Stillwater, and in genealogy from the University of Madras. Professor Jain has taught at Oklahoma University and the University of Delhi. Professor Jain has published 7 books on various subjects of Jain philosophy and the Kundakunda, and is a key faculty of ISJS. I welcome you, Jayanti Lalji, to this session. We have the speaker with us, Dr. Medhavi Jain. She is the founder of Dharma for Life, which organizes informative sessions on Jain philosophy and present-day issues. Doctorate in Jainism, Dr. Jain is a life coach and has authored 11 books and many research papers on various subjects. Her podcast, Man Ki Medha, provides a platform to resolve philosophy queries. Dr. Jain contributes to various organizations, leads Siddhanta Jyoti Mahila Mandal, and makes appearances and award ceremonies. She was recently the convener at a 3-day national conference organized by Ganesh Varni Digambar Jain Sansthan, Varanasi. Dr. Jain lives in Delhi and is well connected with ISJS for a long time. I welcome both of you. And I also welcome our Sulekji, Shuganji, and our team, and all of you to this platform. So I would request Dr. Medhavi ji to begin her lecture.
Thank you so much, Pragya. Jai Janendra to everybody. Let me share the screen first and then we can start. So, Pragya, please confirm if the screen is visible.
Not yet. Yes,
Okay,
now.
but I have, yeah, you can see it now.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Jai Janendra, to everybody. I would like to convey my heartfelt regards for giving me this opportunity to ISJS, International School for Jain Studies, Shugan sir, Dr. Srinetri Pandey, and everybody that works behind these kind of meetings. And I can see Dr. Sulek Jain. We met him in Las Vegas. Sulek uncle, thank you so much for coming. And just as I can see, Dr. Priyadarshana Jain is also here. And my friend Dr. Natalia Zeleznova has also joined from Russia. So thank you so much, Natalia. I have learned from all of you a lot, and there is a way to go actually. So let's begin the lecture. And this is actually my first official, lecture at a at an academic platform. So I'm a bit nervous that almost all the scholars are going to judge me. And I can see I have many friends also who have joined the meeting. So the topic of this lecture is Kundakunda's Samayasara, present day applicability of the 2 century old text. To begin with, let us start with a prayer. नमः समयसाराय स्वानुभूत्या चकासते चित्स्वभावाय भावाय सर्वभावान्तरच्छिदे. The meaning of this sutra is I bow to the purest soul, absolutely free from the karmic matter, whose attribute is consciousness, that can only be known and revealed by the self to the self, that is all knowing, which means it knows all the living and non living substances of the universe at once in their totality. I bow to the absolute soul, to the God soul. So, quickly, we will have a glance on today's topics, which we will be covering in this lecture. First, we will know a brief introduction to Samayasara, and after that, we will start the journey about what is there to know in the entire cosmos. And then we will study the unique teachings of the text, how Samayasara stands unique and can guide present day humans also. Then we will be covering Samayasara for whom. I mean, I think it is a very complex and philosophical topic, and I don't think that Samayasara is meant for everybody. And after that, we will be covering challenges faced during studying Samayasara, because as a philosopher, I have been studying this text since past 5 years, and I have faced some challenges. And then we will be discussing the topic of today, applicability in daily life, and the solutions Samayasara provide in the form of who is the real I. And then after this lecture, or after getting the glimpse of Samayasara, how can we lead life with the teachings of Samayasara? So a brief introduction of Samayasara is, Samayasara, the meaning of this word is the nature of the self. It is a philosophical text composed by Digambar Acharya Kundakunda in the 1st century BC. It has 439 verses in 10 chapters that discuss nature of Jeev, pure soul or pure self or soul, as we all know them. Its false attachment with karma and how can it attain moksha. Samayasara expounds on universal concepts and their emphasis in the philosophy of Jainism, such as karma, asrava, that is known in English as influx of karma, bandha, which means bondage, samvar, which means stoppage, nirjara, which means shedding of the accumulated karma, and then moksha, which is complete annihilation of the karma. Now, coming to the thing that when we embark on the journey to know the truth, what do we find? Every seeker find, be it from any community, be it born in any country, wherever, whenever a seeker starts his journey, he can find only two things in the entire cosmos that are to be known. One is the material world, which is visible through the senses and observable through the mind, and the other is the spiritual world that seeks answer to who am I. And in that context, each of us is a philosopher, because at some or the other point of our lives, we ask this question to ourselves, that who am I? So coming to the unique teachings of Samayasara, first of all, we should know that these teachings are not any commandments or any judgment from any supreme being. The teacher conveys everything through his own experience. He does not impose anything on us. As he says, I will show you the uniqueness of the self with oneness and differentiated from others based on my rich knowledge of self-experience. You accept it after validation by your own experience. However, even if you are not enlightened, do not be ensnared, as it relates to the ultimate experience of your own pure self. So basically, the teacher motivates the readers to have their own experiences and then only believe his teachings. The teacher provides us two viewpoints to embark on the journey to know the self. One is the practical viewpoint and the other is the absolute viewpoint. And as we can see that, as I have taken out some images from the internet, that practical viewpoint is only a tiny part of the truth, whereas the absolute viewpoint covers a huge and vast area to be known, which is undiscovered. And in the second image, we can say that we can see that practical viewpoint is just the droplet from the ocean, whereas the absolute viewpoint is the entire ocean itself. The teacher keeps comparing the soul with a king, and he keeps emphasizing that if the seeker pleases the soul king also expands and guides the worldly life of the seeker. And as we can see in this image, the teacher conveys that the mind and the five senses are like the cabinet of the soul king. The mind is his closest ally and can hence either manipulate him or show him the right way. But the ultimate power lies in the hands of the king, and the king has to recognize it on his own. As we can see in the image, the king is behind every action. The king is sitting on the throne, and his cabinets are eyes, ears. We can name them different ministers of his cabinet: eyes, ears, tongue, nose, and touch. These are the five senses. We can consider them his five ministers. And mind, sitting closest to the king, he is the closest of the allies, and he can show him the picture whatever he wants. So he can either be his best friend, or he can be the worst of his enemies, showing him the wrong picture, that whatever happens in his kingdom. So yeah, so in this image we can see that the soul king is the supreme, and all his actions, all his possessions, all his physical assets are his karma. So the teacher keeps giving examples of the king in various forms, saying that all the karma, be it dravya karma, which is visible, like his body, possessions, and relations, or his bhava karma, like his emotions, desires, etc., can be compared to the king's army, but they are not the king himself. Though the king is behind every action, he does not directly perform those actions. He simply orders through his karma, through his mind, through his senses, whatever he wants to do in his worldly life. So the daily life examples that given by the teacher to make us understand the essence of the soul. One example is, he gives the example of sphatic. Sphatic is a stone, transparent stone that reflects the color of its surroundings. Just we can see in the image that in one image the sphatic is reflecting the green color of the leaf because it is placed above the leaf. And in the second image we can see that the sphatic is reflecting the black color because it is placed on a black background. In the same way, the soul reflects the karma accumulated around it. The teacher says, in reality, the soul is untouched by its surroundings and it is the pure just as the sphatic, pure and transparent. And he gives another example that the way dry mud gets stuck on the oily body, the karma gets stuck to the ignorant and deluded soul. So we can see one Pahalwan, I don't know how to call him in English. So there is one Pahalwan, he's in the Akhada, and when he puts oil on the body, only then the soil, the mud gets stuck to his body. If he will play the game without oil on his body, he will be dried and no mud get stuck to his body. Yeah. So there are some more examples that teacher give us. One example is that he says that the way white cloth, despite being dirty, does not change its original color. The soul never leaves its real essence. So he says that the soul gets afflicted by the karma and starts to reflect those emotions and desires in different forms, but in reality, the soul stays as pure as the white cloth. And another example the teacher gives us is the way white wall, despite being stained, doesn't change its original color. The soul never leaves its real essence. And the teacher keeps giving examples again from the daily life. He says, the way gold remains gold, no matter if it is mixed in the mines in the raw form, as we can see in the first image, or it may take a shape of a biscuit or a ring or a necklace or a bangle, etc. Thus, the soul stays the same, unaffected, irrespective of the body it manifests in. So I think here we can get the essence of the soul and how it is different from the karma or its material possessions. Again, the teacher gives us two more philosophical topics. One is the instrumental cause and the other is the substantive cause. So the teacher says in the making of a pot, the potter, sunlight, water, heat, etc. are all the instrumental causes. The clay is the substantive cause that makes the formation of the pot possible in the first place. And as we can see the second image, the jeweler is making the necklace. So the gold is the substantive cause for that necklace, and the jeweler, the heat, the instruments the jeweler is using, everything else is the instrumental cause. But the gold has the ability to change itself, to be molded into different shapes. That is why it is called the substantial cause. Yeah. So we see that in whatever happening is going on in the entire universe, the instrumental causes can be many, but substantive causes can only be two. One is the material and the other is the immaterial. Material can be observed by the senses and mind, and whereas immaterial is the instrumental cause behind all the changes in the matter. So in this image we can see that instrumental causes in making the pot is fire and heat, sunlight, and the potter, and many other instrumental causes are there actually, but the substantive cause is only one, which is clay. Now the teacher says that the instrumental cause and the substantive cause share an intimate relationship of being nimitt and namittic relationship. Nimitt means the instrument and namittic means the ability to be that on which the instrumental cause can work. So if we take the daily life examples around us, we see that when we knead the dough, the flour is the substantive cause, the cook, the water and sunlight and everything else is the instrumental cause, is the nimitt. When we blow off a candle, we see that the wick is the substantive cause and the blow is the nimitt. So if there is a bonfire going on, the person cannot blow it off through his air through the mouth, because that they don't share the nimitta nemitic relationship. But candle being the small in size, it can be blown off through the blow of from his mouth. And in the third image, we can see the pan and the fire. So the pan and the fire, they also share the nimitta nemitic relationship, because as soon as we put the pan on the gas and we switch on the gas travels through the body of the pan and it heats it up. So they also share the nimitta nemitic relationship. Similarly, the soul and the karma, both of these share the nimitta nemitic relationship, and they keep working for each other as the nimitta cause, and they keep binding with each other because of their substantive nature. So with this logic, the logic the teacher gives us, with this logic he proves that cause and effect are both of the same nature, and the pure I or the absolute I is different and separate from them. So in these examples we see that in context of karma we keep listening and we keep saying whatever goes around comes around. So in this thing we see that cause and effect both fall into the category of karma. So in this image we can see that cause is that somebody lit the house, and the effect of which was the house got burnt. Similarly, in the second image we can see that even cause is also like from the material world, and effect is also endured by the material world. So the teacher further says that the possibility of the end of this beginningless relationship, he says, just as the gold is mixed with the mines, we don't know since when, since time immemorial, the nimitta nemitic relationship of soul and karma is there since time immemorial, but this relationship can end with the efforts of the conscious entity, because the material entity cannot do purusharth, because it is not living being. The conscious entity can do the efforts to end this journey forever, and this state is named moksha in Jain philosophy, and actually in every Indian philosophy. So we see that the matter and the soul live the closest, but they are like parallel lines which can never meet. They seem to be living together, but they are like parallel lines which can never meet no matter what. In the second image, we can see that just like the oil in the seed fills its entire body but differs from the seed, in the same way, the soul occupies every space point of the human body, of the body in which it manifests, but it is different, completely different from that body. Just like milk mixed with water share the same space points, the matter and soul exist. So Abraham Lincoln once gave this quote, of the people, by the people, for the people. So in the context of soul, we see that it is the highest democracy in the entire universe, because the soul cannot be known through any material thing. The soul can be accessed of the soul, by the soul, and for the soul. This is what we call as self-realization. Now coming to the third or fourth topic, that Samayasara for whom. So Samayasara is a very complex text and it is highly philosophical, but once understood, it brings the seeker on track forever. Samayasara is meant for the most restless souls who don't find solace in either devotion, mantra chanting, miracles, and rituals. And it is meant for the most logical minds. This is what I feel. So the people who seek peace or solace in devotion or mantra chanting, Samayasara, I think Samayasara is not for them. It is highly philosophical. There are some philosophical topics that are mind-boggling. For example, the concepts of practical viewpoint and absolute viewpoint to understand reality. So we face some challenges while studying this text because the teacher describes something that is the subject matter of realization, and to describe that he gives us two viewpoints. So the error we make is that let's jump to the absolute viewpoint because that is the main destination to reach. So this is the biggest mistake everybody, like most of the people, can make, because one tends to take the absolute viewpoint as the most important and ignores the importance of the practical viewpoint. Whereas the teacher conveys that one cannot move ahead on the path of knowledge without a complete understanding of the practical viewpoint. So, whoever studies Samayasara needs to understand that the practical viewpoint is more important in this dimension where we are currently. So, our relationships, our possessions, through them only, without knowing them, we cannot move on to the absolute viewpoint. So, this text emphasizes the negation on the following, which is identification with the substances, which is ekatva, minus with the substances, which is mamatva, credits for doership, which is kartritva, and enduranceship, which is bhoktritva. Kundakunda says that when I say I do this, so he says that the doer and the action which is being done both belong to the material world. That is why he gives us freedom from all these four things. But we may take it in a negative sense, that in the sense that freedom to do whatever is wrong or unethical, we can do that because who is performing that unethical action is also karma, and the action on which it's being done, that is also material. So we can get it wrong, but again, coming to the next slide, without contemplating that eventually the soul is the instrumental cause behind all physical actions, and all these actions will act as the instrumental cause to attract immensely heavy and painful karmic matter into the soul's space points, which the soul itself will endure. This is the very important teaching that whoever studies Samayasara, he or she has to get the gist of it, that eventually the soul is the instrumental cause behind everything. One more challenge the aspirant can face, that okay, I can stay lazy and avoid hard work, as if there is a substantive cause, things will inevitably be done. The student must know that he has to work on his substantive cause, on his upadan karan, to move ahead on the path to know himself. Coming to the next topic, application in daily life. How can we apply Samayasara in the daily routine life? So we see that all our life, whatever we do throughout our lives, it is all practical viewpoint. So we can see in the first image the relationships or the friends, all these belong to the practicality of life. And second image is the ego self. The ego self is required to live our life, to earn money, to do our jobs and professions and businesses, but we need to deal with that in that manner only, not getting without getting indulged into that thing. That ego self, okay, I have to say that I have done this, I have done that, but at the same time, at a subtler level, I have to be that okay, I am only the instrumental cause behind every action, and whatever is getting done, I am only the instrument. Be it earning money or possessions we have, so we should act as the instrumental cause behind it. In actually, these teachings make us very, very humble, because now we can see that I am not the main doer, I am only the instrument to perform some unique tasks in this world. So it also helps us in dealing with our diseases, our pain, emotions, and desires. We see that even our emotions and desires. So basically, if someone is going through depression or has some suicidal thoughts or something like that, so it is. I have also practiced it, that some negative emotions come to us definitely, but they eventually leave us. They have their own journey and they are material in nature. They come, they spend their own time, and then they leave us. So when we get the essence of Samayasara, we see that even the pain, the emotions, the desires, everything is alien to our real nature. So pure I and the absolute I stays untouched and unaffected by all these happenings around the world. Again, I have put the parallel lines here, that the absolute and the practical exist parallelly. So we see that we have to show anger at some point of the life, or be it on our servants, on our children. But we do it for the purpose of practicality. We earn money, we feel pride, and we sometimes we have to fall in the trap of greed also to fulfill certain tasks. But we should keep in mind that all these are for the practical purposes. Not only the negative things, we should see the positive things also, be it happiness, empathy, hope, faith, joy, love. All these things have to, they fulfill the practicality of our lives. And again, I have put the absolute, the parallel lines again, that the absolute and the practical exist parallelly. And again, the pure I, the absolute I, is stays unaffected in all these doings of our lives. Yeah, so now going deeper into the essence of ourselves, it's like the words, we cannot give a word to the soul, the pure soul. The pure soul is beyond concepts, any idea, thought, concept, any action, be it positive or negative. The pure soul is beyond every action. And we cannot give it labels, that this label can indicate the soul, the pure soul. The pure soul stays unaffected from the practicality of life, from the words, from anything that can be observed through mind or senses. Again, the absolute and the practical exist parallelly. We should focus on that. Coming to the negative things around us, that almost, I mean, everybody of us has seen COVID. So be it diseases, be it the worst of diseases, be it the worst of pains in any part of the body, we should deal it with the wisdom that beneath every physical misery there is the unaffected soul, which cannot be harmed by any means. The pure I, that is the absolute. Yeah. So then we come to the fact that who took birth as me, and who will leave the body when I die. So we see that even the birth, the different stages of life, and eventually the death, all these belong to the practicality of life, and the pure I, the absolute I, remains untouched in under all these changes of life. Going deeper again, the pure I is beyond genetics, beyond the familial or any other hierarchy, beyond any religion or philosophy, and beyond gender. So the teacher clarifies everything, that the real I is beyond everything. No matter in which family we have taken birth into, no matter what is our family status, what is our gotra, what is our hierarchy, no matter in which religion we have taken birth. So thing, this wisdom takes us even beyond the feeling of pride that I am an Indian, I am a Jain, or whatsoever. And even though it takes us beyond gender. Yeah. So again, I have been repeating this all in all the slides, that the pure I is beyond eyes, touch, taste, hearing, smell, and the mind. Now comes the query that everybody says, that the teacher is negating everything, that this is not me, this is not me, the possessions is not me, the emotions are not me. Then who am I? Then who is the real I? Then the teacher provides the solution, that the pure I, the absolute I, has these four innate, inseparable attributes, which is the infinite bliss, the infinite power, the infinite worldview, and infinite knowledge. So when we get to know that each of us is capable of doing wonders in our lives, because all of us are equipped with all these traits at all times, we can take our lives into a much better and positive direction. Needless to say, like, we can do wonders exactly. So coming to the last part of the lecture, leading life with these teachings of Samayasara. When we start living with this wisdom, we realize that our train was running off track till now, which was halted or was off track. But when we start living life with this wisdom, we can feel that now our train is back on the right track and is going on the right path into the right direction smoothly. So most of us live our lives with the baggage of the past or thoughts about the future, be it the feelings of pain, fear, sadness, guilt about anything, anger, guilt, pain, whatever is it. So we stop living with the baggage of our past and worries about the future. We do our life, we perform every karma, but through the practical viewpoint. We don't get indulged in them. When an adversity comes, we don't panic that, oh, what will happen next. And we learn to declutter our minds and live life without any emotional baggage, as we can see in the images. So basically in this picture, in this image, the teacher says, I have marked it with number 1. Number 1 is the material possessions and our relationships, known as no karma in Jain philosophy. And the second, the blue figure in the image, is the material karma, which is known as dravya karma, which is our body, our different body parts, we can say. And the third is psychic karma, which is orange in color. Psychic karma is the bhava karma, the emotions, the desires we have. And the purest soul, the real I, which is called as the Shuddha Jiva, which is the white in color. All of us have to travel from shedding these layers and accessing that white, that pure self within. These are the teachings of Samayasara, Kundakunda Acharya tells us. So now everybody knows, when we get to know the gist of the teachings of Samayasara, now we know where to find solace in the time of need. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Medhavi. Thank you very much. This was really interesting, and you really connected Samayasara with our everyday lives. Thank you very much. The session is open for discussion. If you have any questions, comments, we have Dr. Priyadarshana ji with us, who also talks a lot about Samayasara. We have Dr. Naren Parson, Justin Modi, Dr. Any one of you, anyone who has any comment. Yes, Sunil Uncle, please.
Medhavi, you are a great teacher. Your beautiful presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Uncle.
Also, your pictures are so new, so beautiful. I don't know where you found them. So thank you. It's just mind-boggling.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
I have known a little bit about Samayasara for a long time. By the way, you have one of the largest gathering today, audience, very big. So you are very prominent. Uh, I read one story that many years ago, Banarsi Das in Agra, and he read Samayasara at 3, 4 different times. First, when he read, he became completely enamored by Samayasara. Second time, he completely gave it up. Third time again. 3, 4 times he read it, every time his reaction was different. So Samayasara sometimes is for the scholars, not for the practical people. Okay. Second is, when you look at Tatvar Sutra, Samyak Darshan Gyan Charitrani Moksha Marga, I see here Samayasara, and you can correct me, that the first two, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, are there. Samyak Charitra probably is not part of this Samayasara. Is that true?
Sir, I think in many sutras that the teacher has clarified, Kundakunda Acharya has clarified that the trio makes the path to liberation possible. So I think he has mentioned the Charitra part also. Yeah.
Thank you.
We all read, we have to read from Kundakunda to Amrit Chandra, to Jain to Banarsi Das. It's long discussion on Samayasara.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Anyone
Like it is
else?
like a thing, self-realize. It is the thing of self-realization. To know the self is the matter of realization. So whenever, as soon as we put it into words, it becomes practical. It becomes a subject matter of senses and the mind. So it is really difficult to describe that which is the subject matter of realization. So the teacher has given us the best words, the best sutras, but it is up to us how much time we take to realize the self. It is like that, yeah.
More internet effect now.
Any other question?
Anyone else? Anubhav, you have anything to comment? Priyadarshana ji? Oh, you can raise hands. Medhavi ji, you were talking, you said that to have a connection, I mean, if it is about us, I mean, if we want to implement Samayasara in our lives, we have to, it is only possible through practical viewpoint. Is it what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, absolute viewpoint or the absolute essence is always there. Like, it is like my real essence is within me, right? Right? I am the ocean, and whatever happening around me is the droplet of that ocean. So once we get to realize that I am the ocean, and everything else is happening on the very surface of the ocean, I get, I mean, I improvise myself, right? I start to deal with everything with my inner wisdom. So it is not like that absolute viewpoint is always there. We can't, it is like we have to access that at times. Sometimes during the morning hours of whenever we are bothered about something or some decision of our lives, there is one certain time in everybody's life, either at night time or early morning. Like for me, it is early morning time. Our inner wisdom guides us like anything. Just a spark is there, that how to move ahead on the path, which decision to take. So absolute viewpoint or the absolute essence is already there. It keeps guiding us, but when we study Samayasara and when we try to apply its teachings on our daily lives, we start being in touch with that ocean more and more. Dr. Natalia Zelezhnova has raised her
Yeah,
hand.
Dr. Natalia, please say something.
Yeah, I would be honored, Natalia. I am eager to listen to you.
Hello, everybody. Do you hearing me?
Yes, very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah, we can hear.
Okay, because I can't start video, I don't know why, but still my question is to Dr. Medhavi Jain. Medhavi, why you decided that Samayasara is quite applicable text to our days? It's for example, I can give you an example. There is a different types of science, for example, genetics, quantum physics, and so on. It is a higher level of science which are not available to everybody. From my point of view, maybe I'm afraid that Samayasara is the highest top of the giant philosophical text. It's not for everybody and not for everyone. It needs some training, some understanding, some higher level of mind, spirituality, and so on. So what is your main idea how to make it applicable to modern time? What's for? My point is we need a special training for that. No, it's not for everybody. It looks like that you try to explain quantum physics for children. Is it not? Am I right or
Yeah,
I'm wrong from your point of view? Make it,
yeah. You are
can
right.
you make it
Yeah.
more clear?
Yeah. Thank you for your question,
Because
Natalia. Yes, you are
children does
absolutely
not
right.
need genetic science at his level.
Yeah, so basically, Natalia, when a scholar studies quantum physics, when a scientist tries to describe quantum physics to the children, to the immature minds, he can, if the scientist is efficient enough, he will definitely find some way to simplify quantum mechanics to describe it to the children. So as a scholar, as a seeker, I can say that I have studied Samayasara, and I'm still studying it, and I am trying to decode it and make it as simple as possible for the layman. And that is why I am already working on a project, Soul Science for the Millennials, because I am trying to decode this text, this complex text. And as you said, I also admitted that it is not for everybody. It is the absolute, like, the highest complexity that can be there, like, so it is definitely very difficult. So I am trying my best to, make it simpler so that everybody can access the wisdom from it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I mean, you were saying that it's not for everyone, and you were trying to make it available for everyone. So you're trying to prepare everyone to understand it in a way.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, this is what I'm. Yeah.
Thank you. I have Dr. Sudha Jain asking a question.
Yes. Hello.
Hanji, boliye.
Yeah.
Dr. Medhavi ji, good evening. Jai Jain.
Yeah. Jai Jain,
Yes.
Sudhaji. Yeah.
Yes. I can say that soul is an architect. When it goes on the right path, it becomes your friend. And when it goes on the wrong path, it becomes your enemy. Now I want to ask a question. How can a layman know that he should change the direction of his or her soul?
So I would say, Sudhaji, that the soul is not the main. So soul is not that is following the right or wrong direction. It is under the conditioning of mind.
Okay.
Performs right or wrong things. So the soul is always pure and untouched and unaffected, as the teacher keeps saying. But under the circumstances, like for example, a person becomes a thief because his surroundings are like that they act as the instrumental cause for that person to become a thief. But eventually, the thief can also attain liberation because he is also a pure soul until he gets in touch with his wisdom and with his real essence.
Okay.
So this, yeah, I hope it is, I mean, right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think it's time now that we stop the discussion and ask our chairperson to say a few words. Jayantilal-ji.
Jai Jinendra, are you able to hear? No problem.
Uncle, can you bring it a little higher?
Okay. So we had a very nice presentation by Dr. Medhavi Jain. Excellent presentation, a very difficult thought otherwise, presented with colors and so many images. So as she said that she's trying to make it simple. So that's very good. Congratulations to you. Your presentation was excellent. And of course, few of the points I thought I will take it. It's not disagreeing or any such thing, but the way I understand, I think we put the matter very straight. So before what I want to talk, I will just take up some points which I will try to verify try to answer it my way, which you may or may not agree. Let us not worry about that. But there are different perspectives, and it is so. First point, whether it is meant for highly intellectual people or for the average person. So let us see, I will not give my view. I will take Samayasara itself, okay. From the 19th verse, it says that it is meant for apratibuddha, which means ignorant person. So it is meant for all ignorant people. And the ignorance, so once we acquire the knowledge, then it becomes simple. So like any subject of study, unless we have a knowledge about it, it looks difficult. And we say that it is not for us, it is meant for somebody else. But it is not so. From the verse 19 to 38, Acharya has replied that question, that it is meant for everybody. The problem is that how do you introduce ourselves? So as you rightly said, I in inverted commas and like that in your presentation. So once we know what is that I, then it is possible technology as well as the subject matter. And to support that point, I'm saying that, or I would like to say that for last 2000 years, your title of the subject topic today, last 2000 years it has survived. And not only one, thousands of people have studied. And even today also thousands or even say few lakhs of people would be studying Samayasara and trying to acquire knowledge about it, whatever deeper. Somebody may say it's still deeper. Yes, I agree, it is very deep. But unless one gets familiar with the elementary things, how will know the higher things? Second point I would like to say in support of that point is that if you look at the chapters of Samayasara, they are nothing but names of all tattvas, okay?
Yeah.
Jiva, Jiv, Samvar, Asra, things like that. Karta, Karm, Punya, Pap, Bandh, and so on. Samvar, Nirjara, and Moksha. So these are the words which are talked about in Tattva Sutra also. So it is little more than Tattva Sutra as far as these tattvas are concerned. And Acharya starts saying from the 13th verse itself that how these tattvas are very important. So it is nothing but expansion of all the basic principles or basic knowledge that we acquire in Tattva Sutra. So it is little beyond Tattva Sutra, but nevertheless, it is easy. I mean, the way I put it. And to support that point again, because a big subject in itself, I will take one more argument and shift to another problem. And that is that it is a matter of experience, as you rightly said. Very rightly, you said that Samayasara is meant for experience, and one must experience it. And so, if it is to be experienced, then it has to be everybody's efforts, okay? Why only some people should experience and not others? So,
Yes.
Jainism, as we all call it, is meant for everybody and every soul. And that's why it is possible to experience, provided we make efforts for that. If we do not make efforts for it, it is not possible to really experience. But I was very happy to note that you emphasize the word experience, which is the essence of Samayasara. In one word, if you have to say what is Samayasara, then it is only that how do we experience our own self. So that way, it was very excellent presentation. Now coming to some other point, some question about changing of directions and like that. Yes, it is lack of knowledge. Again, same point. Once we have the knowledge, the direction will change. Since we don't have that knowledge, we sometimes feel that the direction will not change, okay? But once you acquire the knowledge, it is possible to change the direction. And it's a subject in itself, but it is possible to change the direction, provided we learn about it. Then, of course, a few more points that I would like to put it in my way. That applicability, the title, very good title. Of course, everybody should think about it, that how it is applicable to us. And the moment we apply to us, then only the change takes place. Direction will change once we apply to ourselves. So that's a very good topic itself. But point I would like to say that Jain principles, more so the principles of eternal soul. So Atma is eternal for everybody. And so these principles are eternal. They are applicable to all times. They are applicable to all souls in the universe. And they are applicable in all circumstances, in all substances, all times, all places, and all souls in the universe. Not only on earth and like that, not only human beings, they are applicable to everybody. So if such a universal and eternal principle is available to us, it is in right earnest that we study about it, try to acquire the knowledge and make our life enriched by learning Samayasara. Samayasara itself, I mean, it has different meanings, but one of the meanings is only Samayasara is substance. Okay? So it is nothing but physics or that type of things. Okay? But it is the physics of soul. Okay? And one more important point that I would like to emphasize is that Samayasara has a knowledge approach. It advocates a knowledge approach to the acquirement of knowledge itself. Okay? So in the present time, I would like to just say that we are talking of artificial intelligence. We are talking of IT, technology, all those things. So it is nothing but management of knowledge. But that is management of knowledge with respect to material things. Samayasara is management of knowledge with respect to the soul. It is management of karma. It is management of thoughts processes of the soul. So that way it is very simple. If technology has developed in the same way, it is possible to develop this knowledge of soul. And if we really adopt this approach of knowledge approach to the soul, Samayasara, it is possible to really acquire a lot of depth in the concept and like that. Another point, of course, there are famous kalashas or like that, like Atma Jnanam Swam Jnanam Jnanam Anya Karoti Kim. That means that soul can never do anything else. Okay, it does only knowledge. It is made up of knowledge. It manages knowledge and it is made up of knowledge. And that's why this knowledge approach to Samayasara, I gave a talk once on this topic to somebody other audience. But the point I would like to emphasize here also that have a knowledge approach to the soul, and then we'll see the wonders of this. And then how ultimately it leads to Keval Gyan and things like that. Another point I would like to just say that it is relevant to all so long as we have Rag and Dvesh. So everybody has a Rag and Dvesh, and so everybody has anger, greed, and deceit and all kinds of things. So long as we have this, it is applicable to all in all times. And that's why Samayasara really attacks on that particular point that this greed and other things are deformities or distorted thoughts of a soul and not the real one, not the eternal thoughts. And that's why the word pure soul, that you concentrate on the pure soul and things will be better and we'll understand the things better. We will understand our own soul better. The tragedy of life or human society is that we try to understand everything else in the universe and not understanding our own self. So Samayasara emphasizes that you understand your own self. And that's how the whole concept and the things have been built into it. One very good point I saw in your presentation, excellent, and that was that you have also used so many examples, simple examples, very, very simple examples. Through images you have shown it, that was very nice. What I would like to say is that if examples are simple, then the things that I are trying to explain is also very simple. Only thing that we have not paid our attention to that. And that's why through these simple examples, which was very well done by you, by images and like that, if we try to really understand the pure soul, it is possible to do so. And nothing else can create a problem for us in understanding. There are so many ways to say it. In the very first Mangalacharan itself, Amritchandra Acharya says, beside that what was recited, that Anekanta Mohi Murti Nityameva Prakashata. That means Nityameva, it is ever, it is eternal. It is eternal there within us. The only thing we have not recognized. So it is only thing, as he said, okay, use Anekanta or whatever principles. And then in the 6th verse, it says that, okay, it is a Gyayak Bhava, knowledge, knowledge, and knowledge. You see the Kundakunda's depth of understanding, that when he writes Samayasara, that's also knowledge approach. He says a Gyayak Bhava. You concentrate on Gyayak Bhava, knowing nature of the soul, and then you realize the soul. Then in Pravachan he says, oh, yes, you know again knowledge, you know about the Gay and Gyan. These 2 chapters in Pravachan, and if we know Gay and Gyan, then it is possible to realize the soul, which is Charitra. Okay, you rightly answered the question about Charitra, that yes, Samayasara or all Kundakunda literature does talk about Charitra, but then first it says you acquire knowledge and then try to adopt Charitra and things like that. Similarly, if you look at his Niyamsar, there also is a knowledge approach, that yes, acquired the knowledge of cause and effect, which you also mentioned in one slide, which was very good, cause and effect type of things. So Paramparinamic Bhava becomes the cause and effect type of relationships. So that's what, again, knowledge approach of Kundakunda Acharya in that particular kind of a text. And like that, Ashtapad, wrong things about knowledge have been explained. And then in Panchastika also knowledge about the 6 substances, 5 in particular, and time also including the text. So the point I wanted to emphasize was that all his scriptures, all his books talk about knowledge approach. And if we acquire the knowledge, it is possible to really understand and move faster to the path of moksha. There are so many other things. And of course, it's a big subject in itself, and we can talk also so many things. But one more point before I conclude, and that is that something was mentioned about moksha is talked about, if I understood correctly, moksha is talked about in Jain philosophy, and moksha is also talked about in other philosophy. Or in the same way, soul is talked about in Jain philosophy, and soul is also talked about in other philosophy. It is okay. On the face of it, is it right? But the kind of moksha that has been envisaged in Jain philosophy is different than the moksha envisaged in other things. Similarly, the soul concept, what is soul, is differently interpreted in different philosophies. And in the same way, the path to moksha is interpreted differently in different philosophies, okay? And Jain philosophy, as Tattva Sutra, first sutra says, that Samyak Darshan Gyan Charitrani Moksha. That is the only path. And that is the beauty of Jain philosophy, that adopt these particular things, and then you, so there is only one way to achieve moksha, okay? And that is through Samyak Darshan Gyan and Charitra. So that's the point which I think I felt that it should be emphasized. And of course, you do talked about Dravya Karma, Bhav Karma, No Karma, all those things. A very beautiful explanation. But anyway, that needs a little more explanations and like that. And towards the end, I would like to just say that 2 points in one bullet point type of things. That Samayasara say that if you want to achieve pure soul, your means have to be pure only. Jo shuddha jane atma ko, wo shuddha atma hi prapta ho. So if you know that pure soul, then you can achieve the purity of the soul. So we have to again improve our knowledge of the pure soul, and that will ensure that we achieve that kind of self-realization. And so if we really do that, you gave an example of gold, very good example, that from gold only gold ornaments are made. In the same way, from soul, soul only manifests itself in the ultimate state of purity of moksha and like that. So that's all. Very good. Excellent. I thank the IJS and Dr. Suganji and all, Pragyan, Dr. Pandey and other people who are associated with you. Thank you very much for asking me to be present in this particular session. Very enlightening and good for all. And the speaker has excellently, in excellent manner, tried to simplify the things and present as possible, as simple as possible. I would just end with the saying about quoting one kalash from Samayasara by Acharya Amritchandra, which says that this is the essence of Samayasara, that who are you? So it says that, okay, I'm eternal, anadi, I'm infinite. It will continue like that for infinite times to come. Then I'm unmovable, I don't change. And like that it says, and then he says that you adopt this particular path, then soul will manifest itself. I will just read that. Anadhyam anantam achalam, 41. Anadhyam anantam achalam sasamvedam idam sputam. It will automatically experience yourself. It will manifest itself. You don't have to make efforts for it. Acquire the knowledge and it will manifest. Don't acquire the knowledge and it will never manifest. Jivaha swayam tuchetam uchai chak chakate. The soul itself will shine. Okay? Just as we used to say, India is shining. So soul will also shine, provided we realize this eternal nature of soul, beginningless, endless, and always full of knowledge, and adopt the path of knowledge, an approach of knowledge to philosophy, then we'll be able to realize the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uncle Ji. Thank you so much for your valuable insights on Jainism. It is always lovely to hear you on Samayasara. Thank you so much. Now, I would request our colleague, Dr. Mukesh Ji, to formally propose the vote of thanks. Mukesh Ji, are you there? Mukesh Ji? Are you joined from Ashok sir's computer? I think again there is some issue. Gopal Ji, Sushil Ji, will you please make Gopal Ji co-host? Mukesh Ji, you are co-host now. Mukesh Ji, we cannot hear you. You are speaking, but we cannot hear you. I think, yeah, there is some issue. All right, no problem. I know. All right, no problem. Anyway, we are in the awe of the lecture about Samayasara, and Medhavi ji is doing a great job on making it understandable for all of us. And like she incorporated the examples today, that really helped. So I thank Dr. Medhavi ji for bringing this topic on the floor. Thank you so much. And I also thank Dr. Jayanti Lal ji for chairing the session. Thank you so much, sir. Then I thank our mentors to be with us. We had Dr. Jaswant Modi, Dr. Naren Pasan, we have Dr. Sulekh ji, we have so many people with us, and also we have our colleagues, our friends, Priyadarshana ji, Rishabh Gandhi, Anubhav, Dr. Shrikant Gandhir. We have so many people with us. Thank you everyone for being a part of the session today. And thank you all of you, and thank you our team. Thank you so much for this session. We will come up with another session, the 16th lecture, next month in the month of May. Stay tuned. Thank you, Jai Jain.